Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture of literature. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're at the stage in this series where I'm getting my wallet and my watch back from the lockup.
That good, huh?
Yep.
It's where they're going to give you the, have you seen Rounders, where they just give you the toothpick that he came in with?
No.
When he's leaving prison?
I've not seen Rounders.
It's a good movie. You should watch Rounders. But anyway, we are here with the final wrap-up of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the final wrap-up for the book itself, the grand finale Ultimo, if you will. One more video to go. This a series wrap-up as a whole, but this is the last grand finale Ultimo that we have for Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's almost sad at this point. Like, I don't know what we're going to do with our time.
We'll invest it wisely. Instead.
We'll see what that Adrian Reed series brings forward, because we'll see how wisely we're investing this.
We'll do better things than this.
Okay, let's see where it goes. So Adrian.
I don't like your tone.
So Adrian.
I don't like your lip smacking.
Where do you want to start with this?
So I would like to ask you a lot of questions.
That's terrifying.
Where were you last night?
I don't recall.
Strange.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Was I supposed to be here last night?
No, I was just being a prick.
Oh.
So when did this movie come out in your life?
The movie?
Middle of high school?
I was still living at home, so it would have had to have been in high school. I remember walking to the movie theater from my parents' house to see this, the first movie when it came out. This last movie, I would have been later
That's right.
on.
They split this, didn't they?
Yeah, this was a two-parter, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, the book feels like two books.
It does, but here's the thing. The movie is literally, this is the first book, this is the second movie.
Yeah.
First movie, second movie. It's terribly split. The first one is just like them looking for Horcruxes and like walking. It's like the Lord of the Rings movie. And the second one is literally like the Battle of Hogwarts. They just stretch it out for a whole movie.
Really?
Yeah, there's a little bit more in there, but not really. Yeah. Anyway.
So how did you feel after seeing the second final movie?
The second final movie?
Yes.
It felt good. Like, it was over. You know, you enjoyed it. There's not going to be any more, so you have that, like, tinge of regret that you're never going to be able to go to the Harry Potter movie again in your robe and your wand.
You really did that, didn't you?
I didn't, actually. I'm a little disappointed.
Don't you lie to me.
I wish I would have. Now, if they release another one, we will go. I'll dress as Hagrid. It's fine. I'll get stilts. But
you will dress as the love child of Hagrid and Diddledore.
That's fair. That's fair. But no, it was a good feeling. I mean, the last movie came out, you know, you went and watched. It was part 2. It was the big climactic scene. So it was a very intense movie. A lot of stuff was going on. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
So compare that feeling to the feeling you had when you finished the last book. Were they different?
Night and day.
Night and day?
Like, finished the last book for the first time?
Yes.
Okay. Moving that realm, similar. Like I said, when this book came out, I was going on a camping trip, and it got rained out, and I read it in a hotel bathtub. That was my night. And I don't know, you kind of binge through it. You try to get through all the parts, see what's going to happen. You want to be one of the first people to know exactly how this ended. It was a big deal at that point in time. I'd say not as... Watching the movie for the last time was not as exciting as reading the book for the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
But fulfilling? Was it fulfilling?
Yes.
You enjoyed the last book the first time you read it?
Absolutely so.
You enjoyed Deathly Hallows the first time you read it?
Absolutely so. I mean, it was the big wrap-up. Like I said, this was my childhood in a nutshell. So this was like the last one you were going to get. You wanted to know what was going to happen. People were leaking spoilers online at that point in time. That's when, like, spoilers online first became a real big deal.
That's when online first became a real big deal. Like,
I'm old. But no, I remember, like, you know, I was creeping online trying to figure out who died, what happened. And then, you know, you got the book and you just burnt through the entire thing. It was fulfilling. It was fun. It was enjoyable.
even the first half of that book?
Even the first half of that book.
Really?
Absolutely so.
Or they're just wandering through the woods aimlessly?
Well, at that point, so I had enjoyed Harry Potter all my life. I grown up with Harry Potter. It had been at least a year, maybe two, since you'd had a Harry Potter book. And, like, this was the big one. This was the end. So even, like, that first scene where, Hedwig gets blown up, that was exciting. Because, like, oh my god, they killed Hedwig. How dare they? Little bits like that.
I honestly can't believe that was all the same book.
Yeah?
It
It's
was
been so
long ago. Not only that, but it's such a different book.
It is.
It's such a different book than the end of this book.
It is. The book definitely takes a weird turn.
Well, I have to imagine, just from spending time writing, that what happened was she had I mean, you've had deadlines.
Yeah.
How often in your academic career did you sit there on the eve of when your paper was due?
Let's just add a couple pages here.
Well, not only that, but realize that the entire paper you've written was garbage, but you got to the right ending point.
Okay.
That's how this book feels, isn't it?
Okay. So my understanding, if I'm correct here, she had either written out or had planned and knew how it was going to end, and she just had to get there. And I genuinely feel like, she was trotting along until it was like, all right, JK, you got one more book. She's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Let's get there in a hurry. Let's just start slinging things here. I got to make this happen in the last half of this book.
Well, the way it feels is that she was writing a story and then realized, I got 3 months to finish this thing, and we're not getting there in the woods.
Okay.
That's how it felt.
It is a strangely paced book. It starts out big.
Where are the rest of the Horcruxes?
They destroyed them all.
They destroyed all of them?
Oh, yeah. You just didn't notice because they destroyed like 9 of them in the last 5 pages.
The snake was one. Harry Potter was one.
You had the ring. That, that was the big point of the last book.
Yeah.
You had the diary, Tom Riddle's diary from the second book. You had the cup that they went and got from Gringotts.
They didn't destroy that, though, did they?
They did.
Because what's-his-name ran off with it, I thought.
They destroyed it. I believe it was destroyed, like, off-scene by Ron and Hermione. You had the diadem, which was destroyed in the fire.
The diadem, which one was that?
The crown.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember that being destroyed.
Yeah, Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem. It was destroyed in the giant fire in the room of requirement.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they found it and they were like, oh, well, it's destroyed.
Off screen again, right?
Good on you, it's done.
So Moldavort himself was the 7th.
I believe it was the locket as well.
The locket.
And the locket was destroyed previously. It had already been taken care of.
What book was that?
God, why are you asking me all these questions now that I've given up on caring about Harry Potter?
Dalton, don't speak like that.
Locket or the ring. The ring was destroyed by Regulus Black. But I want to say there was a locket as well.
Someone's going to be yelling at you in the comments.
That's fine. That's fine. And
that's basically my entire goal for this video.
It's just people to yell at me?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Because in light of finishing the series, I've been looking back at some of the comments.
Yeah?
Worst fan base in the world, Harry Potter.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Just terrible. I've been getting yelled at for 3 years now, not unbeknownst to me. So
it's unnerving that people yell at you for something and they're like, you're not even reading these books. Like, no, we are, but we've been reading the same book 2 chapters at a time for a year. I'm going to forget some things that happened 9 months ago. I'm sorry.
You're supposed to be the expert, Dalton.
I'm supposed to be the expert. That's my bad. That's fine.
You're supposed to be the expert.
I'm good with that. But no, they did destroy all the Horcrux. It seems like towards the end, they were just like taking them out left and right. And you lose a lot of that appeal. Like the entirety of the last book was destroying 1 Horcrux. And then we destroyed like 3 in 1 chapter in this book.
Right.
So you do feel really rushed through that. I'll give you that. You're granted that one.
But were there 7 Horcruxes, or did he split his soul 6 times? The total number was 7, right?
I think so.
So I think you listed 6.
I want to say there was a locket for some reason.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why.
So I'm interested in your perspective on Snape. Because for me, reading this as an adult, I was suspicious of him the whole time.
Okay.
Right? Because it seemed strange that you would leave that character there, have that character trusted by Diddledore, all of these things for so long, and him actually be a bad guy.
Okay. Actually be a good guy?
No, actually be... That he would actually be a bad guy.
So, the big deal when the 6th book ended, like, that was their marketing campaign. It's like, is Snape good or is Snape evil? And, like, everybody...
What happened in the 6th book? I don't remember.
The 6th book's when he killed Dumbledore.
Oh, right.
That was the big marketing campaign at that point in time. It's like, this is how we're going to get you to read that next book. You're going to find out about Snape.
I can still literally only picture Neil Gaiman as Snape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman made a fine Severus Snape.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
But anyway, that was the big ploy there. I was on board with, like, he's obviously a good guy. Let's be honest. They're not going to just switch this around at this point. Like, even at that young readership that I had, I was comfortable with he was going to end up being a good guy. So I was fine with the turn. I think it was handled well. The idea that he did it all for Lily is a young romantic notion, which at that period of your readership, you're like, oh, look at that. Good for him. A little cheesy now, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. A lot of people don't like that idea because basically they're saying, well, Severus Snape really was just a Death Eater. Like, he didn't care about Harry Potter. He really just did this because he didn't get his way. So there's a little bit of a gray area there, but I'm okay with it. I think it was a good reveal. Possibly the best reveal in the series, let's be honest. And I think it was handled well.
Okay. Do you remember your first read through where it was that you became skeptical that Snape was a bad guy?
I do not, to be honest with you. Obviously, to be completely honest, reading this would have been in high school. Reading that 6th book, it was a huge shock that he killed Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Like, you have to sit the book down and be like, oh my God, what just happened? So it was a little bizarre, quite a turn. I didn't expect it. But then when you sit and really, think about it, and they start pushing, is Snape good, is Snape bad? I'm like, well, they're not going to do a marketing campaign if he's a bad guy. It's obviously there's a turn coming.
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting that you took the marketing ploy into mind.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, no, literally, like, everywhere you went, like, they even had bumper stickers and everything, like, is Snape good, is Snape evil? Like, that was how they sold this book.
Really?
That was, was the big conclusion here. We were going to find out what Snape was doing. So I was on board with, no, he's obviously a good guy. I will say, though, when he did kill Dumbledore, it was a major shock, especially for me. Yeah.
Okay.
You got any more to grill me with? Having fun with this?
That final battle.
The Battle of Hogwarts.
How do you feel about that?
Rereading it, it's bad. You don't get a lot of the action.
Right.
It's very, very brief for what should be half of your book. The film perspective is quite well. It's a very good scene. It is lengthy, but it is really great. There's a lot of preparations that you miss as well. There's a great scene where Minerva McGonagall, who is played by... My God, I can't remember this name, and I'm ashamed. She is incredibly famous. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. But there's a great scene where she's preparing the fortress. All the professors come out, and they're contributing to this giant bubble that's going around the castle. She's summoning the statues to come to life to defend the castle. And it's well done. Not so much in the book. The book seems very brief. It seems like it just glazes right by. I can't say that the first time I read it, I recall noticing how brief it was, because at that point you're at the excitement of, I'm right at the end of this. I'm wanting to get to the end.
Sure.
I will give the film credit, though. The film does that scene gorgeously. Maybe we'll have to watch it sometime. That'll be great. Adrian watches Harry Potter.
We'll put it on frame rate.
Doesn't that sound fun?
No.
No?
I'm done with this, Dalton.
You're done?
I could not be more ecstatic that I am through with the character of Harry Potter.
Okay.
I couldn't be more ecstatic.
Okay. We'll go with that. I'm fine with that.
Don't I look ecstatic?
You look so excited. Like, you still have another, 20-minute video to talk about Harry Potter, but, we could put it to rest at that point in time.
No, I don't have to read anymore.
No, you don't have to read
I can still
the
bash
reading is done.
The thing.
The reading is far over.
Are you all right?
Yeah. I just realized, we put 3 years into this. I'm like, my God, man.
Yeah.
What have I done with my life?
What have you done to me?
All my friends are, having these great careers and buying houses. I'm like, oh, I just read Harry Potter again. It was great. I'm sorry.
Me 3 years.
I felt super upset about that for a second, and it all just hit me at once.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder what I'm doing with my life, too, and then I realize I don't know.
It's okay. It's fine.
I don't know.
Anyway, what else do we want to talk about with Harry Potter here?
There is that first half of the book.
Okay.
It's directionless.
It is. And I compare it a lot to Lord of the Rings. Because Lord of the Rings, despite your opinion, I think does it well. It's a book about a journey.
Right, and I'm not going to argue counter to that point. Like, I can give The Lord of the Rings credit for what I think
Fair.
it did.
You just don't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like a page of the book, but never did I feel, in retrospect, now, it may have been that I said something during the series that is completely counter to this, but in retrospect, I never felt the story was out of the hands of the writer.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
This felt very out of the hands of Rowling.
And that's it's a fantasy trope, the idea of the journey, the quest. We're going from A to B for a reason. And with Lord of the Rings, you never feel like that is being drawn out. Now, Tolkien can spend 6 pages describing a leaf, and that's fine.
Right.
But we know where we're going.
But that leaf is completely in his hands.
It is. It's in his hands. But we know where we're going, and we know that the journey is necessary. The first half of this book, we don't know where we're going. And granted, the characters don't either. But we should never feel that as readers. We should never feel like, what the hell is going on? We're just walking through the woods chapter after chapter after chapter.
Right.
So I think she did fail in that aspect there, and that is a necessary element of fantasy literature, is the quest. And this is the quest to destroy the Horcrux. We lost that in this. I think it could have been done a lot better. I'd say cut that entire portion in half and reserve the rest of that for the Battle of Hogwarts, and we have a better book.
Which is easy to say in retrospect, right?
It is, it is.
Especially when you've got that deadline staring at you, it's got to be hard to realize that you spent 400 pages meandering through the woods and you have to wrap this all up, and it can't be a 3,000-page book.
Oh, it could have been. I mean, why not? I mean, this is a young adult book at 800 pages. That's fine.
There would have been a revolution if she'd split the book, there would have been blood in the streets if she'd split the last book into 2.
My understanding is when she first went to publish this, she had a lot of trouble because people were like, this is 400, 300, 400 pages. The first book was the shortest. And they're like, kids aren't going to read this. Please get out of my office. Little did they know.
Well, so that's another phenomenon, isn't it?
It is.
Is this children's literature?
I would say it started as children's literature. I will definitely say that J.K. Rowling did develop as a writer throughout this series. She's not the greatest of writers, but she definitely developed. I think absolutely this started out as a children's series, geared towards children, though lengthy. And as it continued and hit that hype level by book 4, when we're writing 800, 900-page books, and we're getting more and more complex, we're not writing for children anymore. We're writing for the people who read this as children.
Let's save some of this discussion for the series finale.
Okay.
But it is interesting that conceptually, we read this approximately 2 to 3 chapters per week. There's only 7 days in a week. How much are you sitting down and reading at a time to a kid? A chapter?
That's fair.
And it took us 3 years.
They do go quick, and I do know people who read these books to their children.
No, they don't go quick.
They do.
No.
No, when you're sitting down, you're reading them. They're a quick read. If you're not analyzing, they're simple. You can move through them pretty quickly.
You're reading them aloud.
But a lot of people didn't read these aloud to their children. This was the first book that you would tackle on your own. Once you graduated past chapter books, you'd start reading Harry Potter. And it would be nothing to sit down and read 6, 7 chapters. But you'd take it everywhere with you. You don't got a job. You got to go to the grocery store. You take Harry Potter with you. Your parents are going to do all the work. You're just sitting there reading your book. So it really was a good opportunity for young readers to kind of flex their readership. And let me tell you, when you are a young reader and you destroy this behemoth, you feel accomplished. And you enjoyed it.
Should you, though?
You should. You should. As a young reader, you should feel accomplished when you burn through an 800-page book.
Dalton, you were 17.
This was different. This was my nostalgia. But you tell me that if a 9 or a 10-year-old picked up this book and finished it, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, no, okay.
The best way I can put this out here, let me sum it up this way. You went and saw the X-Men movies when they came out because you were excited because you watched X-Men as a kid.
Okay.
I continued to read Harry Potter because I was excited because I read Harry Potter when I was a kid.
I'm not making fun of you for it.
No, I'm just saying that's the best way I could distinguish it.
There is a bit of a difference. X-Men had been a phenomenon for 40 years.
Okay.
And they were never able to get a movie out of it.
That's fair. This became literally an overnight phenomenon and blew X-Men out of the water. So it was a big deal. Like, I remember when the books came out, you would go to the midnight release, you would stand in line and wait for these. Like,
I am sad that doesn't happen anymore.
It's a little disappointing. There is very rarely a midnight release for anything. Did I tell you about The Cursed Child when I went out to get that at midnight?
Yes, but I don't remember.
So The Cursed Child comes out, and like, it's the first Harry Potter book that we've got in like a decade-ish. I don't remember the dates. But I'm like, I'm going to go get it at midnight. Like, I'm going to rekindle this. There's going to be wizards everywhere. It's going to be fun. There were 5 people in line at the Walmart.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew 2 of them.
Well, but in fairness, St. Joe not particularly known as a literate town, right? It's not like...
Let's go with that. But I remember working at Walmart when these books were coming out. And, like, they were lock and key. You could not touch them.
But at that time... A, they were huge. B, there was no bookstores, right? Like, you were getting them at Walmart.
It's fair. It's fair.
I mean, so it used to be the same thing with, when I was in high school, Madden.
Okay.
Like, they would wheel that thing out at midnight in August or whatever. And
Nobody does a good midnight release for anything anymore. That's upsetting.
I think safety concerns have a lot to do with that.
You think so?
Yeah. So what was the last big midnight thing you remember? Last big midnight thing I remember is the Batman incident.
November 11th, 2011. That was it. It was the day Skyrim came out.
Oh, yeah. See? Long time.
Josh and I went and stood in line for hours. We got the game. We came home. We played it for a week straight. But it seems like convenience has taken that away. Why would I go stand in line? I could just download this on my Kindle in the morning.
Right.
So it's a little upsetting, and that really takes a lot away from Harry Potter.
Why didn't you do that with The Cursed Child?
Just download it on my Kindle?
Because you wanted the
to go out and get it, yeah. But that really is something that is kind of lost. That was a huge part of Harry Potter, is when that new book came out, baby, you could go out, you could get it at midnight. There were going to be hundreds.
There were other freak shows.
Hundreds of people out there dressed in costume, having fun. It was a big deal. It was. I'm glad we read it.
I'm glad to be done with the series.
Okay. So, Adrian, let's say some good things about Harry Potter. What can you take away from this that were good? Some literary things or some compliments we could give?
If you'd like to help us create more content.
Okay.
I cannot, as much as I couldn't stand this, I cannot downplay the effect that this had on readership.
Okay.
I'm someone I go through the newbie tags, not necessarily on a daily basis, but I try to hit all of them. And that I invest a lot of time in that because I think that the least we can do is welcome someone to the community when they decide they want to make videos about books online, right? I cannot tell you the overwhelming amount of people that say Harry Potter got them into reading.
Yeah.
If it were not for this series, I wonder what, if anything, that spark would have been. Okay. It's easy to say that these people would not have been readers, but at the same time, there would have been something there to read. Is someone predisposed to the act of imaginative creation? Okay. Does that make sense?
It does. Would someone become a reader regardless whether there was Harry Potter to fill that void or not?
Right.
You'd like to say yes, but it still cannot be argued, especially with Deathly Hallows, the impact that it had when it came out. I mean, this was such a big deal. And it's a little strange thinking about it now and going through and rereading this from a literary perspective. I'm like, my God, this is not good. But it was just so exciting to read as a kid. And then you got that nostalgia from it when you read it again as the new books came out.
Yeah.
And like, there are still people to this day who will sit and reread Harry Potter and just enjoy it because it's fun to them. And that's fine. If you enjoy it, go for it.
Sure, I'm not going to...
Just don't try to do some criticism on it because it'll take you 3 years and you'll get nowhere.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
How do you investing 3 years into it?
How do you feel about the level of criticism that we've actually gotten out of this series? Because for me, it has been, in retrospect, disappointing that I devolved into sort of just bashing JK but I had to have something to talk about.
That's fair.
And I didn't find any literary merit there.
Well, to be fair, we took this a couple chapters at a time, which is a little difficult to do. I feel like with any novel, taking a couple chapters at a time, there will be weeks where you're like, well, I don't really know what we're going to be talking about here. But I think as a whole, we brought forward a lot of good points with this series, and a lot of good things were brought up. I've never actually searched any kind of like academic criticism on Harry Potter, but I'd like to argue that we've made some valid points.
Despite the fact that you had an academic class on Harry Potter.
This is fair. That was a long time ago. I don't know. I feel like...
That was almost a decade ago.
That was almost a decade ago. We're getting old. No, I'm happy we did this. It was a good experience. Out of all the Harry Potter books, I'd say this one's probably up in one of my favorites, just because of the fun that I had reading it for the first time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You have anything else to say? You got one more Harry Potter video to go.
Yeah. It's going to feel good burning them. Was this, when you finished this series, where did you rank this book? Could you go through and rank all of the books? Let me go ahead and grab them all.
Could I? Just off the top of my head?
Yeah.
Ugh. That's rough.
That's why I'm grabbing them for you, so at least you
So I can stare at them?
Yeah.
Put Half-Blood Prince as first.
Yeah, we should do this. We should do this in the series finale.
We'll do it in the series finale.
That's what we'll do in the series.
We'll save it.
We'll do that in the series finale. I am done with this book, I believe. Was there anything in this book that surprised you? Was there anything in this book that you felt different about the second time around?
Yeah, it didn't feel as natural this time around. Like when you're reading it for the first time, it's exciting, it's fun, everything just feels like it fits. When you break it down from a literary standpoint, it kind of loses some of that, and it didn't feel as enjoyable. So like when you're applying criticism and like very, very narrow reading to this, I think it loses a lot of its allure. This is something you just have to take in and enjoy, whether you enjoy the genre or if it's nostalgic for you. But when you start to break it down, it loses some of its allure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I think that this was one of my least favorite of the books.
Okay.
I did not enjoy this experience, and I thought that it was easier to nitpick holes in this book than others.
Okay. Well, we will sit and we will rank all 7 books next time. That'll be how we end this series out, talking about which one was best, which one was worst.
Yeah.
Fair. And if you'd like to join us on that little adventure next week, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a like, because this is our last real Harry Potter book discussion that we're going to have. And that's a big deal. And if you'd like to help us create more great content like this here on Strip Cover Lit, there's a link, as always, to our Patreon to be found in the description below.